Today Google closes the wildest month in AI industry history. $84.75 billion raised. The largest AI infrastructure financing ever by a tech company. 6 senior researchers gone in 5 months. Gemini 3.5 Pro still not shipped. Here is everything that happened to Google in June 2026. And what it means going into July. If you watched my video on Google's worst AI week, this is the full month that week was part of. Shazeer left. Jumper left. The stock dropped $320 billion in one session. That was just 1 week. Today is the last day of June. And the picture got much bigger. 6 researchers total. An $84.75 billion fundraise. And Gemini 3.5 Pro is still not publicly available. Here is the complete picture. June 1st, Alphabet announced an $80 billion raise. June 2nd, it was priced and upsized to $84.75 billion. This is the largest equity financing in corporate history by a major technology company specifically for AI infrastructure. Bigger than any single funding round any AI company has raised. Including Anthropic's and OpenAI's own IPO targets. The structure used 3 separate instruments. First, a $30 billion underwritten public offering. Stock plus mandatory convertible preferred depository shares. The offering was oversubscribed. Approximately $35 billion in demand for the $30 billion offered. Second, a $40 billion at-the-market program. Starting Q3 2026. Sold gradually over time. Third, a $10 billion private placement. To Berkshire Hathaway specifically. 5 billion Class A shares at $351.81. 5 billion Class C shares at $348.20. Warren Buffett's company buying $10 billion of Alphabet stock is one of the largest single technology investments Berkshire has ever made. This is not speculative money. This is Warren Buffett's famously cautious capital saying, "We believe in this bet." Why did Sundar Pichai need this money? He told investors directly on June 2nd, demand for Alphabet's AI solutions from enterprises and consumers is currently exceeding available compute supply. Google cannot build data centers fast enough. This is not Google being cautious. This is Google being capacity constrained at the exact moment competitors are taking its researchers. You may remember the 2 names from my earlier coverage. Noam Shazeer, co-inventor of the transformer architecture every AI model on Earth runs on. Left for OpenAI on June 18th. John Jumper, Nobel Prize winner who built AlphaFold. Left for Anthropic on June 19th. What is now confirmed, those 2 were part of a larger pattern. 6 senior researchers from Google's AI and coding team. In 5 months total. Not a 1-week anomaly. A 5-month trend. Significant enough that Google restructured its entire coding team as a direct result. Why does the coding team specifically matter? The AI coding tools market is worth $9.3 billion in 2026. Growing to roughly $30 billion by 2031. Anthropic's Claude Code holds approximately 40% of this market. OpenAI's Codex holds approximately 21%. Google is not even mentioned in the top 2 competitors. The departures happened in exactly the team that needed to close that gap. Now Google has to rebuild that team while simultaneously trying to catch up in the market its competitors already lead. May 19th, Sundar Pichai at Google I/O, give us until next month. June 24th, Guru Focus confirms, delayed to July. Citing 2 specific reasons. The departure of key researchers. And ongoing benchmark gap issues. Both reasons connect directly to the talent exodus in Part 2. What Google did ship instead, Gemini 2.5 Pro with DeepThink, June 22nd. Strong benchmarks, 82.4% GPQA Diamond, 89.8% MMLU Pro. But this is an upgrade to the older model. Not the 3.5 Pro that developers have been waiting for since May. It is a positive headline that does not solve the actual problem. The market's read on this, Polymarket currently prices 50 to 55% odds that Gemini 3.5 Pro achieves general availability today. June 30th. A coin flip. On the deadline day itself. That tells you how much skepticism has built up after one missed internal deadline already. The competitive cost of the delay, Fable 5 was paywalled. GPT 5.6 has not shipped. Google had the perfect window to capture developer attention in June. Instead, the model most developers were waiting for spent the entire month in limited Vertex AI Enterprise preview only. Here is everything else that happened this month, the full context. On governance, the US government issued its first-ever emergency export control on an AI model. Fable 5 and Mythos 5 shut down globally overnight. Anthropic sued. A California court issued a preliminary injunction blocking the federal blacklisting. Claude Mythos 5 was partially restored to critical infrastructure defenders on June 27. AI CEOs signed a joint letter to Congress about mandatory DNA synthesis screening. On markets, ChatGPT fell below 50% market share for the first time in its history. The Nasdaq fell 2.21%, its worst AI sector single day this year. GitHub Copilot's metered billing ended the flat-rate AI era for developers. The token-maxing era ended as enterprises imposed hard spending caps, with measurable results. Chinese open-weight models hit 60% of all usage on OpenRouter. On chips, OpenAI and Broadcom unveiled Jalapeño, the custom inference chip targeting 50% cheaper LLM serving costs. Qualcomm entered talks to acquire Tenstorrent for $8 to $10 billion, the RISC-V chip challenger to Nvidia. On corporate conflict, Anthropic formally accused Alibaba of running 28.8 million fraudulent exchanges against Claude. SpaceX remained mid-acquisition of Cursor, the $60 billion coding tool deal. For Google, $84.75 billion in fresh capital deployed toward compute infrastructure. Gemini 3.5 Pro, hopefully, finally ships. A rebuilt coding team trying to close the gap with Anthropic's 40% market share. The question: can money alone replace the researchers who left? For Anthropic, continuing to lead the coding market while defending the Alibaba accusation. Navigating the Fable 5 legal situation with the federal government. IPO filing at $965 billion still pending. For OpenAI, GPT 5.6 expected within days. Jalapeño chip moving toward late 2026 deployment. IPO filing at $852 billion pending. For the industry as a whole, the token-maxing era ending means AI spending grows more slowly but more sustainably. Chinese open-weight models at 60% of OpenRouter means the price floor keeps falling. July is when several of June's open storylines get resolved, or do not. June 2026 will be remembered as the month the AI industry's foundations shook. Google raised more money for AI infrastructure than any company in history. And lost 6 of the researchers who know how to build the AI that infrastructure runs. Both things are true at the same time. Money buys compute. Money does not buy the people who know what to build with it. July will tell us which one mattered more. Subscribe for daily AI news in 2026. I will be covering July as it happens, the same way I covered every single week of this June. Comment: what was the single biggest AI story of June for you? I am reading every one.